Hello everyone, this is part 4 of What If Naruto Left Konoha, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Naruto smirked as he walked over to where Sasuke, Sakura, and the perverted Sannin, Jiraiya were. "Miss me?" he asks, not really caring if there were enemies near. They only smiled at him, except Sasuke, who only smirked. Naruto turned back to the real problem at hand and said, "Orochimaru, did you like the present I gave you on our last encounter?" "Naruto-kun, how nice of you to join us. This makes things so much easier." He cackled gleefully, eyes never leaving Naruto's en. Naruto being unnerved is a bit of an understatement. "Let's just get this over with," he said, going into an unfamiliar taijutsu stance. Everything was still, nothing moved. The minutes went by, but still nothing moved. Sasuke, being the impatient type, moved first. He created a Chidori and hurtled himself at one of Orochimaru's sound nins. Naruto went after Orochimaru himself, creating several shadow clones. Orochimaru grinned maniacally and performed a bunch of hand signs, biting his thumb, and calling out, summoning jutsu. A huge puff of smoke appeared, forcing Naruto to stop where he was. He heard some hissing coming from the smoke, but that didn't stop him. He went through a series of hand signs and shouted, "Element air, giant hurricane sweep." All the smoke cleared and right there, fighting the air current, was a huge snake. Orochimaru stood on top, or at least, he used to. He was being pummeled by the sheer force of the wind. Naruto sneered and with inhuman speeds, he ran up to Orochimaru and began his assault. While he was busy with Orochimaru, Jiraiya was keeping Manda busy. Sasuke and Sakura was more than a match for the sound nins, so they weren't worried. Orochimaru went through a series of signs and yelled out, "Giant snake's horde." A whole bunch of snakes came out of his mouth and sleeves, moving with great speed towards Naruto. But he was too fast for them. He nimbly dodged them and went through some hand signs, yelling, "Advanced Shadow Clone Jutsu." 3 Naruto clones appeared and advanced on Orochimaru. He sneered and did another summon. This time, a smaller, but more agile snake appeared. Orochimaru already knew which one was the real one, so he left the summon to deal with them. He swiftly lashed out with his leg, but Naruto caught it. He threw it aside and tried to punch him back, but missed. Cursing, Naruto went through his most basic taijutsu moves, mixing them with his more advanced ones, making a blend of new moves. It still wasn't enough. Orochimaru sent chakra to his fist and threw it at Naruto. Naruto brought his arms up in a cross to block it, but Orochimaru changed direction and hit him in the face. Naruto reeled back a few feet and tried to recover, but Orochimaru took the advantage. His teeth grew longer and his end became longer. He headed straight at Naruto, but he disappeared before Orochimaru could get there and he looked to and fro for Naruto. Naruto felt him get grabbed suddenly and moved to a different location. He opened his eyes and saw that it was in Kira's arms. He grunted as they landed and Kira put him down. "Thanks," he says and runs at Orochimaru again. He fell into an unfamiliar stance and began to throw some punches and kicks at him. He moved fluidly, not even thinking about the next move. Orochimaru could only dodge some of them, not being able to tell his next move. Naruto grinned in triumph as he hit Orochimaru in the face again. Racing after the flying snake, he punched him again, but his hand was caught by his. Naruto threw his other hand and Orochimaru caught it too. Naruto scowled and pulled him forward, headbutting him. He lashed out with his leg, sending him in the air. Naruto smirked and jumped up, creating several shadow clones. They then surrounded him completely and began to punch the snake to another clone. The real Naruto was holding his right wrist with his left hand, a ball of dark red energy forming. He smirked in triumph as the ball was finished and Orochimaru fell to the ground. Orochimaru landed, panting slightly, and looked at Naruto with dark, almost brown, eyes. Naruto began to run at him, his right arm trailing behind him. Orochimaru looked shocked but quickly recovered and ran at Naruto. "Kitsune Rasengan!" yelled Naruto, almost upon Orochimaru, brought his dark red hand up and hit Orochimaru square in the C, and then quickly turned and S at another Orochimaru, who had snuck up on him. They both dissipated and Naruto's right arm hung limp at his side. That particular move had a disadvantage. It left the arm used for the attack, completely immobile, and unable to use for an hour. Naruto swayed slightly but remained vigilant, knowing Orochimaru was still alive. He checked out the other battles going on and saw that they were faring well. He whirled around at the last second and deflected a barrage of shurikens. He ran at Orochimaru and, using one hand, punched at him. Orochimaru dodged and jumped up into the air. Naruto jumped back as he began to do some one-handed signs, finishing with a element earth. Great boggy swamp. The ground became mud and started to stink. Orochimaru couldn't clear it in time, so he got stuck up to his knees. Naruto smirked devilishly and sent chakra to his feet to walk on top. He ran forward and kicked Orochimaru in the face, making him careen backwards. He whipped back up and punched Naruto. He blocked it and flipped over him to get behind. He did some signs and mumbled, "Earth compress." The ground became hard, tight, and the experience was painful for Orochimaru. He grimaced in pain and made his body long, like a snake. He got out of the ground and, low to the ground, practically slithered at Naruto. Naruto backed off a bit, and then jumped over him, completing some signs as he yelled out, "Fire release. Great Phoenix Flare." He took a deep breath and sent out huge fireballs that were in the shape of great birds, phoenixes. They swept down towards Orochimaru, shrieking at high-pitched tones, but Orochimaru was ready. Completing seals of his own, he called out, "Element Water. Raging Water Dragon." The dragon and the phoenixes collided, making the area cover in steam. Naruto couldn't tell where Orochimaru was, since the steam was messing with all his senses. Orochimaru came running at him, making sure to stay close to the ground. Naruto took out more chakra out of his weights, making him lighter, and faster. He waited, poised, for Orochimaru. Kira also saw the great dragon and the phoenixes clash together, making steam. She couldn't believe that Naruto had that much chakra. She activated her bloodline limit as she felt a presence near. Her entire body became slick as a black substance covered her body. She smirked and ran towards the direction Naruto was last at. She was tackled from her left, but she slid out of the grasp easily, and did a simple fire jutsu on the nin. He burst into flames as he cried out in agony. She kept on running. Naruto felt someone coming towards him, but he faintly caught the scent of oil and fire. He waited, not sure if friend or foe. He didn't have to wait long until Kira came into view, as the steam was slowly disappearing. She was a dark brown color. He wondered what was on her until she came up to him. He sniffed her and then, almost fainted with the strong scent. "What in God's name do you have on?" he asked, covering his nose. "It's my bloodline limit. You'll see more of it, just wait," she replied, looking beyond him. He suddenly pushed her out of the way as Orochimaru came barreling past. He shot snakes out of his arms as he passed, which automatically attached themselves to Naruto's legs and arms, one on his en. He grunted in pain, the venom seeping into his wounds from the snake's teeth. "I hate snakes," he seethed and arm off. He sensed danger right then, and jumped out of the way, in the nick of time. A huge snake almost slithered into him, a white-haired man running after the snake. Naruto cursed the toad hermit as he was hit in the stomach by Orochimaru. He was shot further into the air, and somehow, Orochimaru got up there before he did. He brought both his hands up and Naruto back down to earth. Naruto landed on his back, making a huge crater. He got up on tired legs and jumped back, just as Orochimaru tried to land on him. Doing several backflips to get out of reach, Naruto tried to move his arm, but it wouldn't work. He cussed silently, waiting for Orochimaru to come out of that crater. He did, and approached Naruto calmly. Naruto barred his fangs, which grew slightly longer, and he growled, it coming from his gut. "What the hell do you want, Orochimaru?" Naruto spat, seething. "I want a lot of things, Naruto-kun. I want the things I can't get even more," he licked his lips tauntingly. "I can't even train and become stronger in peace without someone coming to me and trying to get me to join their club in return for power. I am the vessel of the almighty Kyubi no Kitsune for crying out loud. I've got all the power I want," he yelled, tails flaring behind him. He glanced back at him, and then at Orochimaru, smirking. You want to see my full potential? Fine. You're digging your own grave. He screamed, eyes glowing red, his chakra spiking to unimaginable levels. Have fun, Kyuubi-sama. His tea out. Naruto thought, letting Kyuubi have the controls. I will, flesh bag. No need to tell me twice. Kyuubi replied, crouching. Naruto, Kyuubi shot forward, faster than sound. He pounded Orochimaru's head in, and then punched him in the gut, making him double over in pain. Not giving him time to recover, Naruto, Kyuubi kicked him in the ribs, cracking all on impact. Orochimaru screamed in pain as he shot to the left, going through several trees, until he stopped. His ribs healed themselves, using much of his chakra. Orochimaru picked himself up and blocked a kick from Naruto. Scowling, Orochimaru quickly grabbed his tea. Holding Naruto far away enough to not get out of his grip, Orochimaru spread his free hand out. Several blue orbs appeared at each fingertip and Orochimaru sneered. He pressed his hand painfully into Naruto's stomach, making him grunted painfully. The chakra diminished a bit and Orochimaru kicked Naruto back into the clearing. Naruto landed in his back, very dizzy. Orochimaru advanced on him, wiping off his face. Right before he got to Naruto, a girl with a bunch of oil on her tried to kick Orochimaru. He dodged it in time and scowled at the nin. Kira smirked and ran back at him, using a strong taijutsu form. He blocked and dodged most of her attacks, a plan forming in his mind. He punched her hard enough to send her back several feet, and he did some hand signs, element fire, flash flare. He took a small breath and sent it hurtling at her. She didn't have time to dodge and her body caught fire. Orochimaru smiled maniacally, but then frowned as he heard laughing coming from the girl. She looked like a raging inferno, the oil making sure the fire stay lit. Did you really think that we would be weak against fire because we are covered in oil? You disappoint me, Orochimaru. She laughed, running at him. He gaped for a moment, and then recovered, blocking her kick. The impact left a really bad burn on his arm. No matter how hard he tried to block the damage, it still left a nasty burn. Going on the offensive, he did a roundhouse kick to her face, grimacing at the burn, as she flew into the forest. Hurriedly, he ran to the limp body of his prize, picked him up, and studied his face for a moment. Smirking in triumph, he opened his mouth and bit his en. Poof! The Naruto in Orochimaru's grasp disappeared, to be replaced with a log. Realizing what it is he is biting, Orochimaru pulls away and literally shreds it to pieces. He was mad. No, beyond mad. No one makes a fool out of him, one of the legendary Sannin, Prince of Snakes. Realizing just how hard it has suddenly become to capture his latest interest, Orochimaru sounded a retreat, and sank into the earth. The surviving sound nins also retreated, which was two. They were badly injured and just managed to escape. Naruto waited until he could no longer sense Orochimaru's chakra, and then promptly sank to his knees. Kira finally recovered and came barreling into the clearing. She caught sight of Naruto and ran to him to check if he was okay. Sasuke, who looked very battle-worn, Sakura, who looked worse off than Sasuke, and Jiraiya, who looked like he had the life squeezed out of him by Manda, calmly walked back to where Naruto was. When they came within a 10-foot radius of the Kyuubi vessel, his tail suddenly shot up and became staticky. Stopping where they were, they watched Naruto expectantly. Naruto, who was the worst out of all of them, just kneeled there, waiting for the healing abilities to kick in. After several minutes, his wounds began to close slowly, but surely. His breathing became smoother and his tails finally settled down. Another 10 minutes passed before the tails stopped moving altogether, save the slight twitch. Naruto stood up and looked at each of them, his eyes resting on Sakura the longest. Inhaling deeply, Naruto fixated his eyes on Jiraiya and said, "You need to train me. I have a lot of power, but I do not know how to use it properly. That snake bastard will come back and I need to be able to defeat him with ease." Jiraiya looked surprised but nodded. "Does this mean you won't be training us anymore?" Sakura asked, eyes turning a deep emerald. Naruto looked at Sakura, and shook his head. "No, you will be joining me. Orochimaru is up to something and you two need to be at your strongest." His attention was back on Jiraiya. "If you agree to this, without taking breaks to do your infamous research, I will show you a great jutsu I made up that will be a great asset to your book." A lecherous grin appeared on Jiraiya's face, but he said, "Can you show me now?" "No, in private. This jutsu is not for young eyes that have yet to even think about reading your book. Meet me at the old man's office tomorrow and I will show it to you then." "Is it the one and the same jutsu you used on me and Kakashi?" Jiraiya asked, hope in his eyes. Naruto nodded. Jiraiya never looked as happy as he did now. He jumped in the air so many times, you would think he was on some drug. He literally caned Naruto's feet in thanks, and to the Kyuubi vessel's embarrassment, the perverted Sannin tried to hug him. Thankfully his tails reacted in time and almost neutered the guy. "Come now, we have preparations to do. Sasuke, Sakura, let's go." They both nodded and left Jiraiya in the clearing to daydream. Swaying his tails daintily, Naruto was fixing himself some instant ramen. In the past couple of months, he had become increasingly addicted to the stuff. Sasuke was out, visiting his old estate, which was practically rotting, and Sakura was shopping. Pouring the hot water into the cup, Naruto sealed the thing and walked into the bathroom to relieve himself. After he was done, he washed his hands, dried them, and then returned to a finished bowl of miso ramen. Inhaling it quickly, Naruto threw away the empty bowl and walked into the bedroom. Going to the window, he jumped out and quickly sent chakra to his feet so he could wall walk. Changing his direction, Naruto walked up the wall and onto the roof. Quickly, but lazily, Naruto made his way to the Hokage's office. Anyone who saw him running would immediately assume they saw a fox. Naruto made no attempt to conceal his tails, since most of Konoha has already seen them. The only time he would hide them was if he wanted to buy some stuff from a store. Naruto immediately began to walk up the Hokage tower and through the window, to the Sandaim's office. Jiraiya was already there and the third was doing some paperwork. Not bothering to announce his arrival, Naruto sat down in a chair and waited patiently. Seeing the Hokage's grim, tired, and frustrated face, Naruto decided to help the old man out. He didn't know why, but he felt compelled to help the old geezer out. "Why don't you create some shadow clones and get him to do the B paperwork? Getting too old to do a simple jutsu." Well, the compelling emotion to help the old geezer didn't say he couldn't tease him, or taunt. Sarutobi looked up at Naruto, surprise and understanding showing on his face. Jiraiya began to chuckle and wondered aloud, "Why didn't I come up with that? Maybe because your head is in the clouds, your manhood runs free, and you're dense." Naruto offered, smirking. The Sandaime burst out in laughter and Jiraiya turned a bright pink. Then, his face turned a dark crimson color and steam shot out of his ears. "Why, you little brat. Show some respect to your elders." Jiraiya screamed at Naruto. Naruto just smirked some more and replied, "What? Not in your prime anymore, Ero Sennin." Yet again, steam came out of Jiraiya's ears at his new nickname. The third just laughed harder, unable to hold back the fact that the great toad hermit, Jiraiya, was being told off by a teenager. "Brat, if you know what's good for you, you will shut your mouth up." Jiraiya warned him, his fists clenched tightly. Giving out empty threats, Ero Sennin. "I thought the great toad hermit everyone respects would be a serious Sannin, instead of a pervert like you." Naruto shrugged off the intent that was directed at him. Jiraiya only got angrier. Yet again, Naruto smirked, "Oh. Can't take a simple jest, Ero Sennin-sama." This time, Jiraiya launched himself at Naruto. Smiling sadistically, Naruto completed some hand signs and mumbled, "S-jutsu." Jiraiya was suddenly shot backwards with speeds that could shame the Yondaime, and crashed into the opposite wall. Naruto heard another crashes and turned to see the Sandaime with a massive nose B and was unconscious. Jiraiya was also unconscious with an even bigger nose B and a lecherous expression. Naruto sighed and let the jutsu go. Why does there have to be such big perverts in the world? He asked himself, not really expecting an answer. Because some humans are so desperate and lonely that all they have is little orange books to read, Kyuubi trailed off. Naruto shrugged and sat back down on the chair he was in earlier. "I wonder if I went too far with that one." Nah. Sasuke was currently walking down the street, a highly annoying Sakura because him. He was relieved when she stopped trying to ask him out about a week ago, but was also puzzled as to why. He wasn't going to ask. He stopped when he sensed a familiar chakra signature coming towards them. Shutting Sakura up, he waited for Naruto to arrive. Not long after, Naruto jumped down beside Sakura. Hey. Oh. Hey Naruto-kun, Sakura chirped and latched herself on his arm. This surprised both shinobi, but Naruto found that he didn't mind it too much. Hey, Sakura-chan, Sasuke, ready for training? Naruto asked. They nodded and began to walk towards the gates. Naruto stopped them and explained, not for a while. We will train inside the village for now, until we are certain there is no enemy activity going on. I don't want you guys being used to get to me. Okay, Sakura agreed. Let's go get something to eat first. Please. Sure. You up for some ramen, Sasuke? Naruto asked, his and Sakura's stomachs growling loudly. HN was all he got in response. Naruto led the way, Sakura still latched onto his arm. Him not minding Sakura hugging his arm was bugging him. He never liked being touched, whether it is a simple gesture, or to a playful S on the back. The reason why, it crowded and diminished his personal space. And he did love his personal space. Sakura was trying to start a conversation with Sasuke when they passed by a flower shop. Naruto cringed when he heard an excited screech and his other arm being occupied. Hey, Naruto-kun, Sasuke-kun, and billboard brow. Ino greeted, getting a glare from Sakura. But before she could retort, Naruto pulled his arm away from Ino and replied, Hey Ino-san. What's up? She seemed a bit hurt that he pulled his arm away, but answered nonetheless, Oh, just helping my parents with the shop today. What are you guys up to? Ino then stood beside Sasuke. Sasuke, on another note, was even more relieved when Ino didn't attack him to get his arm. Going for some ramen, wanna come? Naruto replied, smiling faintly. Sorry, can't. I'm not off work until late today. Want to go out with me tomorrow? Ino asked hopefully. Naruto shook his head and said, Sorry, Ino-san. But we are going to be busy with training for the upcoming Chunin exams in a month. Ino looked saddened again, and Sasuke felt a small pang in his sea. But almost as soon as she looked down, Ino sprang back up and smiled sweetly, Okay Naruto-kun. What about you, Sasuke-kun? I'm busy, he replied shortly. Ino nodded and waved goodbye to them. Sakura was wondering why Naruto pushed Ino Pig away when she grabbed his arm. He didn't push her away, not that she was complaining. Come on, let's go. I'm starved, Sakura announced, and began to lead. Naruto chuckled and followed, with Sasuke in their wake. Time skip, 2 weeks. Sakura-san, you are doing it all wrong. Like this, Naruto corrected Sakura's seals, and stood back. She looked slightly disheveled from the training and Sasuke looked like he hasn't done much. Sakura nodded, frowning slightly as she corrected her mistake and tried again. Naruto turned to Sasuke to see how he was faring, and it looked like he had the new fire jutsu Naruto showed him. He smirked at Naruto and completed the seals, gathering oxygen in his lungs, before blowing out a huge, white-hot dragon. Naruto clapped once and noticed how far down the sun was. Okay, complete 50 laps around Konoha and you will be done for today, Naruto instructed and left the grounds. Sakura yelled a farewell to Naruto and followed Sasuke, keeping a small conversation with him. Naruto headed towards the springs to have a nice soak. Hey, Kyubi-sama, will you teach me something new soon? Naruto asked, walking at a leisurely pace. Of course, flesh bag. I don't want an outclassed weakling anymore. That godforsaken snake won't know what hit him the next time we come across him, that's for sure. Kyubi grumbled, remembering how close his vessel came to receiving that curse seal. Something seemed off about his aura though, as if he met him once before. Grumbling again, Kyubi shut off that train off though and an idea came to mind. Fleshbag, didn't that perverted scarecrow say that he could get someone to teach you something? Naruto didn't falter in his stride, but was surprised that it had slipped his mind. It completely slipped my mind. Naruto mentally berated himself, careful as to not let anything of the sorts accidentally hurt Kyubi. Well, you have one smart vessel, Kyubi-sama, Naruto stated, but not changing directions. It seems so, Fleshbag. You will receive some kind of punishment for it, I have yet to think one up. Naruto flinched. Kyubi-sama's punishments were not humane to say the least. It happened every time he failed to follow orders, instructions, failed to listen at all, or completely missed any clues Kyubi was laying out for him. Naruto nodded, finally seeing the hot springs. Just as he was about to enter the men's section, he heard small, perverted giggles coming from the female side. Curiosity got the better of him and he went to check it out. What he say made his face blanch and his eye twitch. The white-haired man that had captured him on that mission was there, looking into a peephole, and writing down something on a notepad. With Naruto's enhanced eyesight, Naruto strode behind a tree and let the jutsu go. Putting a bandana over his eyes to act like blindfold, he followed the cursing of the angry Kunoiki. Naruto smiled slightly and gave a shrill whistle to catch their attention. I think he has been punished enough, Kunoiki-senpai. Can I have Ero Sennin back please? Naruto asked, his arms crossed on his chest and he was leaning against a tree. He felt the air around them tense for a moment, but relax a bit when they saw him blindfolded. Well, at least he has some senses to not peek on us while we were busy, one remarked, giving the motionless Jiraiya a kick in the ribs. I would not dream of it, Kunoiki-senpai, Naruto replied, a small smile gracing his features. HMMPH, if only the rest of the male population were a bit like you, maybe then this place would be a bit better. That way, fewer men would have to be castrated, another sighed, walking back to the springs. Naruto heard a few grunts of agreement, some didn't answer, but simply walked away. Naruto waited until they were all gone before taking off his blindfold and shoving it into his pocket. You know, Ero Sennin, you should respect the female population more. All this peeking you are doing is going to come and bite you in the ass someday, Naruto panned, squatting down near Jiraiya. Said pervert opened his uninjured eye and sluggishly regarded the teen. What's it to you if I don't? He demanded, sitting up. Naruto's eyes became walls of ice as he responded in a monotonous tone, sending shivers down Jiraiya's spine. I am sure Tsunade-sama hates perverts with a passion similar to mine, Ero Sennin. Fleshbag, he is the one your father was trained by. Get him to teach you the normal Rasengan and the body flicker jutsu. They will be useful in the future. Yes, Kyubi-sama. Naruto watched Jiraiya's face become paled as the bee rushed from his face. A look of pure terror entered his eyes as he asked in a low whisper, how do why you not know about Tsunade Heim? Please don't tell her. I'll do anything. Jiraiya begged, getting on his knees. Naruto chuckled darkly and replied, you have to teach me the normal Rasengan and the body flicker jutsu. And I mean teach me, not tell me what to do and disappear. I also want your summoning contract. Your punishment is negated for now, Fleshbag. That contract will be useful in the future, Kyubi remarked calmly, thinking about a certain snake. Jiraiya looked shocked at most, but complied quickly. Naruto nodded and did a certain seal, resulting in his hands glowing both red and green. Jiraiya was curious for a moment, but understanding clicked in his head when he saw all his wounds healing in a matter of seconds. Where did you learn that? Jiraiya asked, getting up and feeling invigorated. Naruto's hands returned to normal and he regarded the Toad Sannin with a collected look. I met up with Tsunade-sama a while back and she taught me the basics of the medical field. With her and Kyubi-sama's tutelage, I advanced quickly. I am not on par with Tsunade-sama's skills as of yet, but pretty damn close. Jiraiya nodded, his respect for the kid growing exponentially. Well, with the control you have, I don't doubt you will be able to get the Rasengan and the body flicker down in a week or two, he thought a moment. How the heck did you know about the Rasengan and the body flicker in the first place? You've never had schooling. What an idiot. Did he really forget I am sealed inside your navel? You look like a freaking fox for crying out loud. Sometimes I wonder how he ended up being a Sannin, a legend, known for quick thinking, their repertoire for jutsus and the great chakra reserves. Kyubi kept his rant going. Naruto's eye twitched from annoyance, but didn't dare try to tune out his master. He simply replied, you don't have much of a brain, do you? Jiraiya frowned at this. Why is that, you brat? All 8 of Naruto's tails flared up and became denser. Jiraiya paled once again and backed up. Brat. Who are you calling a brat? You just asked me how I knew those specific jutsus and you forgot that I am the vessel of the mighty Lord of Demons, the Kyubi no Kitsune. Only a real brat would forget important facts like that. Be glad I am not in the mood for your eyes out. Naruto growled menacingly. That's the way you are supposed to act, Fleshbag. Make him cower, Kyubi exclaimed giddily. Naruto kept the charade up until he thought that no more fear could appear on the Sannin's face. Know your place, pathetic mortal. Now, Teach me those jutsus before I changed my mind. Jiraiya nodded and wearily walked into the forest. Naruto followed, his chest swelling with pride for making his master proud of him. Now, if only you would act like that all the time. People would think twice before crossing you again. That reminds me, you need to stop thinking about that pink loud-mouthed wench before I gag. Naruto's face grew stern for a moment, the expression unnoticed by the scared witless Jiraiya leading the way to a suitable clearing. Why can't I think, Ab? Are you questioning me? Kyuubi demanded harshly, making Naruto visibly wince. No, I'm not, Kyuubi-sama, Naruto replied somberly, giving in to his master's wishes. Good. Now hurry up and catch up to the idiot. Yes, Kyuubi-sama. Naruto hurriedly caught up to Jiraiya and kept pace. A small boy was sitting on top of a huge mountain, watching the beautiful sunset go down. He sighed happily, feeling peace and serenity enter his small, pure heart. No one could hurt him here, because no one knew how to get up here. Well, the ninja of the village could, but none of the abusive villagers can. Despite the late season, it was still very warm, and the small boy found himself lying down on the ground. He didn't need to go back just yet, and he needed some of this peacefulness to stay a bit longer. He needed this peacefulness to stay, he needed it like a lifeline, and in some ways, it is. This is what kept his sanity in check from the harsh realities of life that most kids are protected from. Oh, how he longed to know who his parents were, what they looked like, what they smelled like, and how warm they felt in a hug. How he longed to feel what a hug actually feels like, what a kiss on the cheek feels, or praise from the person you loved most. He never had anyone that closely resembled someone he could trust, and he didn't know, in the least, what love was. He never received anything besides scorn, hate, pain, betrayal, and being shunned for reasons nobody ever elaborated. With a sigh, the boy got up and walked back down the hidden path that led up and down the mountain he was on. It didn't take long to get to the bottom, and staying as silent as he could, he began his trek back to the orphanage. Each time he went back to the orphanage, his loneliness, fear, sadness, angry, remorse, confusion and pain would come back, suffocating him. None of the other orphans ever played with him, and the adults only gave him tattered, dirty clothes. He never had any friends, he's never known the nice feeling you get in your chest when you've met someone special or made a new friend. All he has known is pain and loneliness. Accidentally running into a drunk villager, he quickly begged the villager's forgiveness. He was not getting off so easily. The drunk began to beat on the little boy with a beer bottle, and soon, beer was dripping and streaming off of his face. Many other villagers joined in on the fun, kicking, and beating the innocent little boy into the ground. After what seemed like an eternity, the entire mob left, and in their wake was a battered, bruised, innocent blonde that wearily got back up. His usual spiky blonde hair was now a deep crimson color and was stuck to the top of his head. His normally sky blue eyes that held spirit, innocence, purity, and serenity, were now D of all emotion. They were just D, nothing came from the depths. He quickly, but carefully entered the orphanage and head straight for his room. He knew he would get anything else from the adults concerning food, so he didn't bother. All he had for a room was a broom closet, but even so, he was glad he had something, and didn't have to share a room. His room was very small, with the lumpiest, dirtiest, moth-eaten bed in the entire building, a small pile of tattered, filthy rags that nowhere near resembled clothes, and a bunch of newspaper as blankets. The shelves were empty and dusty. He didn't dare set anything up there, because the adults would take them away and burn them. He kept the few possessions he had in a small box that was hidden under the bed. There was a small bucket of water in the corner full to the brim with dirty water. The boy went over and lapped up some to drink, since he had no cup to use. After he was satiated, he wiped his wrist on his mouth to get rid of the water there and dunked his head in. He scrubbed out his bee hair and carefully wrung it out. After that was done, he retrieved the box under his bed and opened it. There was a strangely shaped rock that resembled a cracked heart, a shell of some kind, a small book full of pictures of animals and their matching letters, a small stick that was able to make marks on his walls, a bit of paper with small drawings of 3 stick people holding hands, with the one in the middle being the shortest, and a small picture of the most beautiful woman the boy had ever seen. She had long brown hair that was swaying in the wind, wide, innocent lilac eyes that held warmth, love, laughter, happiness, serenity, purity, confidence and beauty. She was in a beautiful meadow that was bursting with color, and she was holding her swelling stomach, a look of pure, unfazed happiness on her face. Her smile made the boy feel warm inside, even though he knew that the smile wasn't meant for him. She was surrounded with swirling leaves and flower petals, her simple, yet lavishing kimono dancing merrily with the wind. The boy sometimes felt a connection to the woman in the picture, but he didn't know what it meant, so he brushed it aside. Sighing, the boy carefully set the picture aside and brought out the book to read, well, browse. He was so caught up in his browsing that he failed to hear the footsteps until they were right in front of his door. The door flew open and startled the boy so badly that he dropped the book where it was and backed up quickly, resulting in the picture of the beautiful woman dropping on the floor. Some newspaper followed, covering it up, and the boy was hit repeatedly when the adult found out what he was hiding. After a good beating, the adult grabbed the box and left, closing the door behind her with a bang. The boy cried silently to himself, asking over and over again, why? What did he ever do to them? Why did they treat him like this? Why did they take away whatever happiness he had? After a bit, the boy somberly reached over the side of the bed to pick up his only source of warmth, and didn't notice the picture that was in between newspaper to slip out and in through the floor panels. He didn't notice that his only source of happiness was under the floorboards, waiting to be found. All he felt was loss, pain, betrayal, confusion, and anger towards the adult that took his precious box away. He knew that he was never going to see his box again, the only thing in this that he liked. From then on, he knew that he was never going to be truly happy. He was never going to have a family, a friend, someone to converse with, someone to cry on, and someone to love him. No one was going to love him, care for him, make sure he was going to be okay, make sure he ate enough. He couldn't trust anyone, no one, only himself. He didn't know the feeling of happiness, of love, of peace, of serenity, of warmth from another human being. All he knows is anger, pain, loss, confusion, sadness, emptiness, and the unmistakable, hard to miss, feeling of being totally and utterly lonely. That's all he ever felt. He was always alone, always isolated, and always lonely. Naruto woke up, his face covered with sweat, and his clothes were soaked completely through. His breathing was ragged and tears were streaming down his face. Naruto, what's wrong? Sasuke asked, right beside him, concern apparent on his ever stoic face. Naruto didn't answer right away, trying to sort out his thoughts. Kyubi-sama was asleep, he could tell, so he could tell Sasuke of his dream. I think it was a dream. Naruto tried to calm his breathing down. Do you want to talk about it? Sasuke asked, backing off a bit, his mask ever so slowly slipping back into place. Yeah, sure. In the kitchen, please, Naruto replied, getting up. Sasuke nodded and followed him into the kitchen and sitting down at a chair. Sasuke had to get steel chairs at some point, since his new weights had gotten so heavy, all of them broke. Naruto sat down opposite of Sasuke and relayed what his dream was. Sasuke let his mask drop again and a look of confusion, anger and understanding entered his handsome features. When Naruto was done, he felt a lot better. The sun was just starting to peek over the eastern wall and the boys decided to have breakfast, and get cleaned up, since it was morning anyway and they couldn't get back to sleep. Before they left the apartment, Naruto spoke up, thanks Sasuke, you don't know how much this means to me. Sasuke looked at Naruto with a slightly surprised expression, but recovered and said, HN. Let's go meet up with Sakura. Yeah. Naruto left first, and walked down the hall leisurely. Sasuke stayed a moment and followed, thinking, you are the closest thing I have to a brother, Naruto. Sasuke, you're going to be spending the remainder of the month training with Kakashi-san. He can help you further your Sharingan. The Chunin exams are coming up soon and you need all the practice you can get with it. Okay. Naruto looked over at him a moment before leaning up against a tree. HN. Whatever. What about you and Sakura? What will you do? Sasuke asked, going into his, I'm too good for you, stance. Oh. Don't worry about Sakura. I found her a good teacher that will teach her some good techniques. And I will be doing my own training. Now, what say you? Yeah, fine. Where am I supposed to meet him? Well, You were supposed to meet him at training grounds 7-15 minutes ago, but, well, we all know how tardy he can be. We should go and find Sakura to get some ramen. Naruto smiled gently, reminiscing about a steaming bowl of miso ramen he had only yesterday. Sasuke's sweat dropped and his eye twitched. Is ramen all he thinks about these days? Sasuke asks himself. Then, something hit him. Naruto, who the heck is Sakura's teacher? Don't get jealous, but Tsunade of the legendary Sannin is going to teach her more chakra control and medic jutsus. I sent for her a week ago and should be here today sometime. After the Chunin exams, I'm going to get Jiraiya to teach you for a bit. Maybe a couple of months. Why just a couple of months? Sasuke asked, a bit peeved about being left out. Because Jiraiya wants to take me on a training trip for about a year. And Tsunade would stay here and make sure you get a good tutor, maybe teach you herself. Naruto replied, hoping to any god, known and unknown, that Sasuke would take this well. Humph, fine. You didn't tell me your teacher. I told you that I would be training on my own, Naruto murmured, already headed to Ichiraku's for some ramen. Before Sasuke could answer, someone see him off. Naruto-kun. Sasuke-kun. Good morning. Sakura yelled out as she came to a stop beside Naruto and immediately latched onto his arm. Hey Sakura-san, up for some ramen before training begins. We don't have any missions today. Naruto asked, smiling slightly. Sure Naruto-kun. Sakura exclaimed happily, slightly drooling over the prospect of ramen. Yep, she became slightly obsessed over ramen and was now her favorite food. Great, let's go. We have an hour before we have to meet up with one of my old senseis. She should meet us in the Hokage's office. Naruto explained, leading them to Ichiraku's. Sasuke just h'd and stayed stoic. He was wearing his new training clothes that consisted of loose, black shinobi pants that had bandages at the bottom hems, to make sure they didn't get in the way, and had his weapons pouch on his right leg. His arms were completely covered up past his elbows and another weapons pouch on his right forearm. He wore a navy blue shirt that had the Uchiha crest on the back, and his forehead protector was, of course, on his forehead. He also wore black fingerless gloves and black combat shoes that came up to the middle of his calf, not that anyone could see. He wore his weights on his wrists, ankles, upper arms and upper legs. They all weighed 45 pounds. Sakura was also in her new training outfit, which consisted of a dark red tank top, accompanied with a black undershirt. Her black shinobi pants were rolled up to her knees and held there with bandages. On her right hip was her weapons pouch and was the only one on her at the moment. She wore her now black forehead protector like a bandana that covered most of her pink hair. The only bit of hair that was visible was what came down in gentle waves down her back. She wore dark red fingerless gloves, the same shade as her tank top, and black combat boots that only came 3 inches past her ankle. She had her weights in the same place as Sasuke, but they only weighed 30 pounds each. Naruto, well, what he was wearing could be considered training clothes, but he wears them all the time, even when out on missions. His outfit consisted of a semi-skin fit black t-shirt with the kanji for fox on the back, in bold B red letters. He wore dark green shinobi pants with 2 belts crisscrossing on his waist. His arms were bare, showing off his well-toned muscles, and his pouch on his right leg and left hip on the opposite hip was another pouch filled to the brim with necessities like a small first aid kit, just in case, extra bandages, and other stuff. He had thick black combat boots on, making his feet weigh 50 pounds each, and on top of that, his weights weighed 100 each. He weighed a good ton, and he needed to up the weight soon. His face still had the whiskers, but they were darker and more defined than before. Since the day he had gotten his 8th tail, Naruto had an ethereal god look about him. His chin was chiseled perfectly, his cheekbone high and prominent, his canine teeth longer, effectively scaring away children with a single smile. His ears were pointed and the nubs of soon-to-be fox ears were appearing on top of his head. Though his long, sun-kissed hair hid them well, it was only a matter of time before they were showing. He had his hair in a low tie, that went down to the middle of his back, and his eyes were warmer, since comparing them to his old eyes deemed it so. His 8 tails swished daintily behind him, since now he had complete control of them. With his sharp hearing, he picked up curses from the villagers. He ignored them, however, since what they thought didn't really matter to him. Not since he ran away. Oh yes, he did remember the village, but didn't feel hatred towards it. For some strange reason, the longer he stayed here, the more he fell in love with it. The same went with the pink-haired beauty latched onto his arm, chatting away. Of course, being Naruto, he isn't aware of his growing feelings just yet. They entered the now flourishing Ichiraku ramen shop and sat down in the usual spot. They placed their orders and sat there. Not long after, several more people came in, and these people were the rest of the genin. When Ino saw Naruto, she gave a small squeal and ran up to him. Tenten gave a blush, and so did Hinata. Billboard brow. Move so I can get to my Naruto-kun. Ino demanded, standing with her hands on her hips in front of Sakura, and her angry expression on her face. Sorry Ino-san, but our order is here. Why don't you join your teammates there? Naruto in, pointing her to her team, consisting of the newly formed Inoshikacho group. Their old teammate was sent back to the academy when they found that his skills were less than mandatory level for genin rank. How he managed to pass was completely beyond them, but some were glad that he wasn't in their hair anymore. But I want to sit by you, Naruto-kun. Just move billboard brow. Shut it Ino pig, go away before I lose my patience with you. Sakura huffed, and turned her attention to her bowl of shrimp ramen. Naruto tuned him out, already on his 5th bowl. How he managed to pack it all away is a complete mystery, but no one, not even an Akamaki, could beat him when it came to eating ramen. That's how he becomes friends with Chuji after he was moved to Shikamaru's team. They had an eating contest, with Naruto winning by several bowls within the time limit. Sasuke ate silently beside him, on his 2nd bowl when Naruto moved on to his 7th. After Ino finally decided to give up, Sakura got her 2nd bowl started. After his 15th bowl, Naruto decided to call it quits, his stomach filled contentedly. Paying for all their food, and a little extra for a nice tip, all 3 of them left. Right after them were 3 others. Billboard brow. Fight me and whoever wins will get Naruto-kun's heart. Ino declared, confident that she would be able to win no problem. Naruto rolled his eyes, unaware of Sasuke doing the same thing. You're on Ino pig, and if I win, you have to admit I'm better than you and leave me alone. Sakura replied, smiling smugly. Fine. Training grounds 10. Be there in 10 minutes, or else you forfeit, billboard brow. Ino stomped away. Naruto-san, someone said behind Naruto. He turned around and saw a Hyuga, standing there looking at him with a slight glare. What is it, Hyuga? Naruto asked, not fazed at all by a pathetic glare. I challenge you to a fight. Training grounds 10, in 5 minutes. Fine, I could use a warm-up. CR in 10, Sasuke. Naruto called back, walking down to the specified training grounds with Sakura walking beside him. Tenten, who had just walked out, went back in immediately to tell the others. Sasuke Uchiha, I also challenge you to a spar. Same place, but after Sakura-chan and Naruto-kun's fights are over, a green spandex-clad boy challenged. Sasuke just nodded and walked to the same place, a bit of excitement bubbling in him. He couldn't wait to show the rest of the losers his real strength, now that he was getting close to 3 commas in each eye. The rest of the genin walked out of the ramen shop and followed, eager to see what Naruto was all about. Naruto and Neji were about to start when everyone else arrived. Neither of them seemed to notice their audience. I'll go easy on you, since it's your fate to lose, Naruto-san, Neji stated monotonously. Lee and Tenten sweat dropped at this. And I thought you were going to be at least a challenge for me too, Hyuga-san. Naruto whined slightly, getting irritated at the fate freak. Why should I? With these eyes of mine, I can see fate, and what she has in store for all of us. It is your fate to lose this match and acknowledge your superiors. Neji smirked, getting into his Urukan SP stance. Naruto got into an unfamiliar stance, even to Sasuke and Sakura. Now, Hyuga-san. I wonder if my future is actually set in stone, like you say it is. If it was, all of you would be and I would also be too, for my inner beast does not like humans at all, Naruto said cryptically, scaring a few in the small audience. But underestimating your opponent is the worst thing anyone could do, ninja or not. Do not presume to lecture me, fool. All I'm here to do is prove that I am your superior, as fate wanted me to. Now, let's get started. Neji charged forward, a determined, yet bored look on his face. Naruto stood there, a little impassive. When Neji was half a foot away from him, he lazily stepped to the side and Neji ran past, a startled look on his face. Before Neji could regain his lost momentum, Naruto stepped up behind him and hit him on his pressure point on the N. Neji's eyes closed immediately and he fell forward. Naruto quickly caught him and set him on the ground, disappointment etched in his features. Sad, Naruto mumbled absent-mindedly, standing up straight. Maybe now he will shut up about fate, because in my eyes, she's non-existent. Whoa, Tenten and Lee said in unison, eyes wide. This boy, whom they had never really gotten to know, or really seen before, just defeated last year's Rookie of the Year, and in one hit no less. The winner is Naruto-kun. Sakura jumped up and down excitedly. Their small audience was also wide-eyed, mouths hanging open. How the hell did that happen? Kiba yelled out, fist pumping in the air. How did what happen? Naruto asked, walking towards Sakura and Sasuke. How the hell were you able to defeat Hyuga Neji that fast? He was last year's Rookie of the Year. Kiba yelled out again, very confused. Naruto winced at that moment at the loud sound. Would you bring your tone down please? I'd rather not go deaf, Naruto asked, his pinky scratching his ear. Anyway, he underestimated me. I understand that underestimating your opponent is the worst thing you can do. Did I ever learn my lesson? Someone said behind them. They all turned around to see a blonde woman with a big bust and a small jewel in the center of her forehead standing there, smiling. Tsunade-sama, how nice of you to show up, it's been a while. Naruto smiled and walked up to her. What? This is Tsunade of the legendary Sannin? Tenten asked bewilderedly. Everyone else was the same way. Yes, I am Tsunade. The brat there asked me to come to Konoha to teach someone. I'm only here because I owe him several favors, Tsunade smirked, knowing that was a downright lie. A few favors. Try several hundred. I am the only reason why you aren't in debt anymore, Tsunade-sama, Naruto stated, standing in front of her. Tsunade smirked again, clearly amused. Fine, fine. Whatever, now where is my student? She has a fight to start now. Wait until she is done to see what she's got. I trained her pretty well and should take out her opponent easily, Naruto smiled, motioning for Sakura and Ino to start. Fine, but if she ain't good enough, I'm leaving, despite the amount of favors I owe you. By the way, where is that perverted teammate of mine? Probably doing what's best. Doing research at the nearest source, if you catch my meaning, Naruto answered, ignoring all the looks directed at him. He never learns, does he? I'll just have to pay him a visit later to see how far along he is. If he is still where you say he is, I'm gonna castrate him. All the men cringed at the thought and their hands crept closer to their packages, to make sure it was still there. Naruto on the other hand, stepped away from Tsunade with a fearful look on his face. I take it he isn't going to get off easy, is he? Naruto asked, beads of sweat on his forehead. Tsunade grinned sadistically, one that looked absolutely terrifying on her face. You never know, will you, Naruto-kun? That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.